All right, so let's talk Elon Musk, because this week people started to get nervous when Elon suggested that he has the right to back out of this deal. And then people started to ask, well, does that mean he wants to back out of the deal? And there was a suggestion it doesn't necessarily mean he's doing that. And then Tesla might be facing some layoffs. And then it was released that Elon had said he has a very bad feeling about the economy. And this leads a lot of folks who want to see this sale go through to be concerned that it won't. And a lot of folks who don't want to see it go through feeling hopeful that it won't. Jason, I understand that you actually have helped raise funds for Elon's Twitter buy. So what can you tell us?
So just a little fact check on that. I have a tiny allocation I was given to invest in the company, but I'm not helping him raise funds, nor does he need any help. He's got his own money to buy it. I don't have any inside information other than, what Elon says on Twitter, and he's been pretty vocal about it. We also had him at the All In Summit where he said, listen, if the bot problem is less than 5%, as Twitter has said in all their SEC filings, okay, great. If it's more than that, well, it's kind of like, I think he used the analogy of termites in your house. And so, in my experience, you can take Elon at his word. If the termite problem is 5%, let's say, in the house, okay, great, we agreed on a price. But if the termite problem is 50% or 25%, and I think anybody who uses Twitter at this point or has done some research into it would say it's probably more than 5%, then either, it's a breach of, the deal, or maybe the deal should be at a different price. And so, I think there's a chance the deal happens. If I had to handicap it, like, there's a chance the deal happens. There's a chance the deal happens at a lower price, or there's a chance that there's some sort of legal action. And so it's kind of up in the air right now. I think Twitter is in a really bad place because maybe they could have been misleading their shareholders all this time. And so, if they can't give him the information, because it seems like he's trying to get some information, and when you do these deals, you have information rights. So in that latest SEC filing, he asked for more information, and they're not giving it to him. So that certainly does not look good for Twitter. But again, I don't have any inside information, and I just had a small allocation to invest in it. So I don't have that inside information. I'm just giving the handicapping of what I read publicly.
No, I got it. And can you handicap it? Can you put an odds on it? Odds that this thing will go through?
I think it's starting to feel like the deal is not going to happen to me. If I had to take a guess,
that's not what we want to hear. It's just we need one of these companies to be run by somebody reasonable.
He would be a great owner for it because he really is great at executing. He would solve the bot problem. I think his freedom of speech positions are classic American. We have the law, and everybody deserves to, have their opinion, even if you don't like it. It's hard to hear certain things. You and I just had a little flare up ourselves. Sometimes it's hard, but we have to learn to disagree with each other, right? And do so in a productive way, hopefully. But it's hard to be for freedom of speech when some things are uncomfortable. Now, there is in a private company, obviously, a zone of you get to decide what people do in a private company. You get to decide what happens on your podcast. I get to decide what happens on mine. So there'll be some things that'll be judgment calls. Like, for example, sharing information on people's location. Gawker famously would stalk celebrities in New York and tell you the location of people. This is kind of dangerous, but perhaps not illegal, right? And so, the law has to catch up, and there's this other phenomenon with these new systems where things can trend. And so the fact that, some piece of speech that might be legal, but also, could be deadly or could be dangerous, can trend and could become the number one story and could be exposed to millions of people, like somebody's home address or somebody's, a phone number, and there's obviously varying degrees of the fallout from these things. That does make this unique. And so it's not just standing on a soapbox in the middle of Times Square. You could all of a sudden have a picture, shared with millions of people, as we've seen tragically, when people have their phones hacked or whatever. So it's very complex. He's the greatest entrepreneur of our time. And so it'd be great to see him take this on. That being said, it's the deal looks like it's very challenged right now. And so
it does.
Life's a negotiation. So we'll see. I think it's a negotiation that has to occur.
I don't know. Initially, the Twitter board seemed, David, to be like, no, we don't, get out. We don't want Elon Musk coming in here. Get out. And then the price was so good, I don't know if they were forced to accept or they just did accept, but in any event, they got a good deal on paper. And now I don't know how they'd feel. Do you think they want it to fall apart? And secondly, so two-part question, do you think they want it to fall apart on the Twitter end? And secondly, I read that Elon waived his right to due diligence. And if that's true, does he really get to unwind the deal if the bot numbers are understated?
Okay, so on the first question, what does the Twitter management want? And initially, they fought Elon really hard on this, and it was pretty clear they didn't want to work for him. It was also pretty clear that Elon was going to replace a lot of them. So there's a fair amount of antipathy between Twitter's current management and Elon. And I suspect that management, if the deal doesn't happen, would probably breathe a sigh of relief. I don't think shareholders would. I think shareholders want the deal to go through, including the shareholders on the board who have major positions. But I suspect that management probably would rather just remain independent and not have to report to Elon, and they can continue the content moderation policies they want. And they've, even during this period, have basically, there's been a lot of leaked content that basically shows that they're kind of doubling down on their censorship. So I think that's what's going on there. In terms of the diligence and what Elon is required to do, I think Elon's position on this, based on what he said publicly, is, look, I relied on their public filings and public statements. So even if he waived his right to conduct sort of independent due diligence, he relied on what they've said publicly. And what they've said publicly for many years is that the bot problem is 5% or less. And he's saying, listen, when I sample my own account and I look at my followers or I look at my own tweets and the likes and reactions they get, the bots seem to be a lot more than 5%. So I need you, Twitter's management, to answer my reasonable questions about this. And Twitter has refused to. So now if the deal falls apart over this, then what happens is Twitter's going to have to make a decision. Do we sue Elon Musk for the $1 billion kill fee that he would otherwise be obligated to pay? And if they do, Elon's defense against that is going to be, but you didn't give me all the information, you didn't answer my questions. And then they're going to have to go to trial. And I think the issue will very quickly become, what did Twitter's management know about the bot problem and when did they know it? And why didn't they basically answer Elon's questions? And what will the discovery show? If the discovery in that lawsuit shows a chain of correspondence between Twitter execs saying, hey, we have a big bot problem here, that would look very, very bad for them. And so I think if this deal doesn't happen, I think there could be a lawsuit, and that lawsuit could be very embarrassing for Twitter executives.
It's getting hot outside, and everyone's starting to fire up the grills. If you are looking for the perfect cuts to put on the grill this summer, look no further. Good Ranchers is the place to get American beef, chicken, and seafood. They sell 100% American meat and ship it straight to your door. Right now, they're giving away 2 free 18-ounce prime center-cut ribeyes to every person that uses my code Megyn. Get you 2 free 18-ounce prime cut ribeyes. That's a good deal. I want one right now. That's over 2 pounds of prime ribeye steaks just added to your order at no cost to you. You're welcome. With Father's Day coming up and all the summer events and holidays on the horizon, this is the perfect time to try a box from Good Ranchers. Your dad, grandfather, father-in-law, husband, everyone, they need these ribeyes. You can make a one-time purchase, or better yet, subscribe and save 25% on every box. These are steakhouse quality. Claim your ribeyes before they run out. This is a limited stock item. First come, first serve, and you want to be first when it comes to Good Ranchers. They deliver the best of American farms and ranches to your door. Make sure you take time today, right now. Go to goodranchers.com/Megyn or use my code MEGYN at checkout to get your 2 free 18-ounce ribeyes. Start summer off right with Good Ranchers. American meat delivered. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.